lastly, our And lastly, we have our third thread, which are illegal activities, which are very tricky since they're very common in areas such as Tribuga, which are very dense areas, which aren't very monitored by local policemen or very monitored by the government. The three biggest illegal activities are logging, which directly affects the habitat of species. They target high value hardwood trees and they remove forest covers, destabilize oils, and greatly affect the ecosystem. Then illegal gold mining just introduces mercury into rivers, which then goes into the ocean, bioaccumulates in fish, and harms humans because we are eating the fish. So it does affect us directly. And then last we have overfishing, be, since it reduces fish population in mangrove nurseries, it directly affects local communities, which are the ones eating and benefiting economically from the fish production and the fish population. And lastly, if we're overfishing and taking too many of the fish, means these species that commonly come to the areas to feed upon are not going to be able to survive and have nothing to feed on. So, the best way to see all of this is that there's a chain reaction. Most of these are happening at the same time. Most of these are taking place at the same exact regions, which are um, the most divided from the communities, which means they're not able to see what's happening. And what happens is that first the threat is introduced, the port starts to be constructed, the illegal activity starts. Then the physical destruction starts, the cutting, the deforestation, the breaking starts happening. Then um, the species and the environment are being threatened. Monkeys are dying because they have nowhere to survive. Birds have nowhere to put their nest. Trees are not able to recuperate, are not able to grow after everything that's going on. The economic and social aspects of the communities are going to make them travel to new places because they're not able to survive where they're from. And it just is a breakdown not only culturally, economically, but also environmentally. And such harm in the ecosystem is not something that can be changed or repaired in very common and easy and fast ways. And the best way to put it is industrial and illegal activities degrade habitats, disrupt species, harm communities, and break Tribuga's ecological balance. Who benefits from all of this? Who gains? Who loses? And are there sides? So, who benefits? The biggest benefactors are industrial investors, the shipping companies, the construction companies, because they're the one doing the trading, the one doing the exportation, the one doing the roads, the one getting all the money, the political and corporate groups that are proposing and gaining from the ecosystem. And a true positive aspect that we're able to bring is the short-term jobs or the possible jobs that the communities are getting, but at the end of the day these local communities are used to surviving without those jobs. They don't need new jobs in a corporation. They don't need to become a manager if they're able to sustain their family, their community, and their climate by their environment, sorry, by themselves. So who loses? The local communities that need the fish grounds, that need the clean water, and that need their cultural experience in their environment. The marine species that need their breeding grounds and need their habitat. The local sustainable economies, such as ecotourism or just artisanal fishing, because they're not able to do that because of this big corporation. And lastly, is just the loss of blue carbon, the amount of new flooding, and the destruction of a place. Those who love Gulf of Truga are the local communities and the species that live in here. And those who benefit or the companies, which is very sad. And I'm sorry of how heated I'm getting, but it breaks my heart to see how bad we get sometimes trying to just get without giving anything back. So the positive aspect is that there is stuff going around, there's impacts and changes being done. Such as first, the port has been delayed due to opposition and activism in the area. The Afro-Colombian communities are using their land rights due to being in this area for centuries to block developments. There's big research going on to prove that this can greatly impact not only the area but the whole country and the whole ecosystem and the whole planet. Then there's new government discussions expanding that are trying to bring more marine protected areas that can greatly help the community. There's very big groups that are community led that are trying to grow ecotourism so they're able to show more people how pretty and how important a place is, bringing more knowledge and understanding for people. And then finally, Mission Blue, which is a hope spot that increases the global visibility and conversational pressures because one person can really do an impact, but as a community and as a group, we can. There's three big NGOs that are working towards the Gulf of Tribuga. The first one is Mission Blue, which is a organization that works more towards a research, bringing actual data. Marviva is a foundation that works towards Marviva monitors the areas around. They keep track of stuff that's going around, reports they have to make, and just anti-port advocacy. And then finally, we have Fundación Malpelo, which is just a research foundation and a marine conservation company. And lastly, there are a lot of Afro-Colombian community councils that are using their speech, their word, and their experience in life to have an opinion in councils and in the government to talk about what's going on and what should be done. My personal connection to the place, all I took all of these pictures. I was very fortunate to be able to travel to the Gulf of Truga to do ecotourism and to do a diving thing where I dove with whale sharks, which is truly one of the most sweet, generous emotions I've ever been through. And I was able to see one of the coolest and most unique and incredible places I've ever seen with my life. And I truly don't think I've ever gonna see something as unique and as incredible as it was. So I wanted to do this project to bring more awareness and more and show people what is going on. I think as humans, we're very selfish, and when something doesn't directly affect us or we don't directly see something that's going on, we won't create an impact. That's why awareness is so important. When we understand that I'm comfortable here, but there's stuff going on around me that I'm not seeing, is when we start taking action. So I think that's one of the biggest things that have to be done. We have to speak out to say what's going on and what we can do. The port would be constructed right now if activism and people weren't able to speak out and people weren't able to be aware of what was going on. So we do have power in our word, in our speech, and it's just being confident enough to be able to put ourselves out there. So, in conclusion, Tribuga is an incredibly biodiverse rainforest ocean ecosystem. It is home to incredible species such as wolves, mangroves, turtles, and much more. It has a huge cultural and economical value. Its threats are accelerating greatly due to its very, very rich environment, but protecting it means protecting biodiversity, culture, and our climate. The survival of Golfo Triuga is required by community leadership, by policy and by global support, by awareness, and by understanding what's going on. Saving Triuga means saving one of the places where rainforest and ocean connects, one of the places that keeps our climate healthy and stable, and saving such an important part of the world and of our ecosystems. And I think it's something that we do have to take into account and we do have to think more about. And thank you very much. These are my references. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you give and as much interest and as attention as I put. And thank you very much.